My name is Heber Rast, and I have been a member of Lutheran Men in Mission since the Constituting Convention of Lutheran Men in Mission, and before that I was a member of the South Carolina Lutheran Men in Mission, 1979, 1980. Back then in men's ministry, we primarily existed to help our mission congregations. Several of the church bodies had put together a commission for a new Lutheran church. We began talking among ourselves that the church really needs to have a men's organization. If every synod had a men's organization, how much good we could do for the church. South Carolina was one, North Carolina was one, some of the men from Ohio, Nebraska, and Texas. There were spotty groups of men's ministry that were left over from the old days. We wrote a letter and sent to the commission for the New Lutheran Church, urging them to have a men's ministry as part of it. Typical church response with gratitude and thanks, and they would take it into consideration, you know. But when it all came out, I don't think there was a recommendation from that commission to have an official organized men's ministry.
I kind of followed the documents in the commission for the New Lutheran Church. There was nothing ever there about a men's organization. Always got voted down. When the final conventions of our three churches took place, there was nothing in those documents about a men's organization. At the last moment, some people got on the floor, passed a resolution, and now we have it.
Lutheran Men in Mission, LMM, Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, is hereby declared assembled.
The first order of business was to find an executive director because we had to have someone to give us focus.
Bill Pollock, the first director, just laid a lot of the groundwork. Bill was very experienced in working in both congregations as well as in ALC districts, so he knew how to get the organization going and built the skeleton for it. Bill Pollock became a magnificent friend and mentor to me. He literally mentored me into this position. To me, it was a modeling of how men should mentor each other. One of the things that was going on in American culture at that time was men had really disappeared from the church, and that men actually were looking for faith.
We focused on facilities for many years, and it worked. We were the center of our community. But in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, that began to dwindle away. When Lutheran Men in Mission entered in my life, they talked about something that was very personal, very spiritual.
As we thought about what we were doing and what Promise Keepers and others were doing, we thought, how can we put this in a positive way? We looked to the scriptures, and that's where we saw Paul talking about being a master builder and a skilled builder and a master craftsman. And we thought, well, that's what it's about. It's about building men's faith, building men's relationships, and building men's ministry.
During the early years, we were trying to find some project that the men could get behind. But from a church-wide standpoint, we never could find a consensus on a project that would seem to draw interest from all parts of the country. And then we went from trying to find a project to having men as our project.
I think Lutheran Men in Mission has made a great impact, not only on this congregation, but the congregations across the ELCA. The ELCA's commitment to honoring men's ministry gave great impetus. Men's ministry is a crucial part of what we do here at St. Mark's.
We realized that women were outnumbering us 2-to-1 in congregations, and that congregations and families and communities would be much stronger if men were fully engaged with Jesus Christ. Our ministry really is about helping congregations find ways to connect with men and help them to grow in their faith. Lutheran Men in Mission is regarded even by other men's ministries as leading the way in working with young adult men. Our programs have grown, our income has grown. There's just a lot of exciting things happening with Lutheran men.
The men's ministry really means a lot to me. It's more than just building churches.
Lutheran Men in Mission has given us the tools that we lacked in building men and building men's spirituality.
Master Builders, Building Men for Christ, focus is on men. Out of that grew our vision statement that every man have a growing relationship with Jesus Christ through an effective men's ministry in every congregation. And from that day forward, everything we've done goes through that lens. A major part of that was when we introduced the Master Builder's Bible for Men. The first one to step forward was Bill Sapp from Omaha, Nebraska. He thought what Lutheran Men in Mission really needed was a good study Bible.
We were really a little skeptical at first, but says, okay, we'll start off with, he was going to buy 500 Bibles.
He bought 500 Bibles the first time around, and I think 1,500 the second time around.
We says, we think maybe we have hit on something. So then the men authorized 5,000 Bibles, which was a huge step for us.
And then he asked if anybody else would join him, and the board responded to that, and now we have something like 57,000 Master Builder's Bible for Men in circulation, mostly in the United States, but also around the world.
And this was before the church came out with the Book of Faith initiative. So we felt like we were out in front of the ELCA on a lot of things.
Guys are intimidated by Scripture. We run on ego, and when you throw a Bible out there and say, go find this, and you can't find where the verse is, or quite frankly, the book of the Bible, we make it easy for you by telling you what page that Scripture is on.
One Year to Live is a men's retreat that was developed for us primarily by Lyman Coleman. It's an intense weekend spiritual retreat where a man examines his life and where he is with his relationships with God and with those that he interacts with on a daily basis.
I would not be where I am today without the weekend retreats that I was going to several times a year to hear great speakers and inspirational people and people that could pray with me and teach me how to pray and how to get in men's lives and how to get into my life and free me away from the bonds that I have.
It's an event that can truly change a man's life.
Every 3 years, Lutheran Men in Mission takes another great step forward.
The men's gatherings is another thing that has helped Lutheran Men in Mission grow through the years.
That weekend, I had to sit around with 2 other guys knee to knee and pray with them after hearing their stories. I had never experienced anything like that. There are a lot of hurting guys out there in our churches and in our neighborhoods that really need to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. The forgiveness factor, the shame that men carry around in their lives that they don't need to, because God's going to forgive them, so they need to learn to forgive themselves. And I'm not sure there's that many people through faith that are telling the men that.
The man himself is going to be blessed by having a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ. The man himself is going to be blessed by having 2 or 3 or more guys that he can honestly call friend and Christian friends. When that's happening for the man, the family, the congregation, and the community are going to benefit.
I still think our greatest accomplishments are yet to come.
Lutheran Men in Mission has experienced exciting growth these first 25 years. Growth in ministry and growth in support. We've been able to do the work that we do largely because of the gifts of generous men, women, and families that have supported us. I invite you now to support the ministry of Lutheran Men in Mission as we celebrate 25 years of ministry and take giant steps toward the future. Thank you for your support.